The goddess is here.
Good evening, and welcome to Face Off. I am your host for the evening. I am Reverend D. Marie, and I am so excited to share with you on this May 29th, which happens to be our wrap up for Mental Health Awareness Month. Our face offs are brought to you in partnership with Face to Face Ministries, Restoration Community Christian Church, and the York Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. This is an opportunity for us to come to you and bring you a real lived experience, a story of hope and resiliency for all of those that may be out there dealing with hardship, trauma, or tragedy. And I am so excited because tonight we have a very special guest. Tonight we will be joined by Mr. Keith Smith Jr., and he's going to come and talk to us about the highs and lows of a Black man's mental health journey. And so I don't want to belabor this. I'm going to go ahead and invite Mr. Keith to come on into the room with us. There he is. Hello, Mr. Keith.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. It's my birthday, so I'm feeling pretty good.
You just threw it out there. I was going, wait a little bit, but it is your birthday.
Gemini things.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We are so excited that you have decided to spend a portion of your birthday with us here at Face to Face. And so this is your first time being a guest with us, but we are very familiar with each other. We won't reveal how just yet. We'll just let them just talk in a little bit. But do me a favor, and I would like for you to introduce yourself to all of my guests.
Hello, my name is Keith Smith Jr. I like to put emphasis on Junior because I did lose my father about 2 years ago. So I'm very serious when it comes to the Junior. Legacy is everything to him and me. I was born in Arizona while he was in the Army, came to York, PA when I was about 6 or 7. I do remember my first grade best friend. Shout out to Candace. But yeah, I grew up in York City, PA, small hood. Endured a lot. I was able to escape a lot of that through football. And I ended up graduating from a local school at Millersville University. But I did start out at Cheney. Shout out to the first HBCU. The first.
Love to say that.
It's the first.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. It's too early for us to start arguing. So, Mr. Keith, you are joining with us for Mental Health Awareness Month. So, we are wrapping up Mental Health Awareness Month, and I will share many people that may tune in, they would have seen us together. We were just on a community panel together, a mental health roundtable, a D9 event in York City. And so this will not be a rollover from that, but this is definitely one of the reasons that I thought you would be amazing to be a guest on our Face Off tonight. So
appreciate that.
So Keith, I want to rewind. I always rewind with my guests, because I think that history gives us a lot of context for understanding the present and, motivating us to get to the future. So I want to start off by just, tell us a little bit about that growing up journey that really propelled you into this mental health road.
Ooh.
I know I just jumped out there, didn't I?
Yeah, because I didn't quite get into mental health or even understand it until 2017. And that's when I endured my own mental health struggles. However, I was in therapy. I was on medication throughout my childhood after I lost my mom. So after the age of 12, I was kind of like thrown into it. Talking to the counselors at school. I didn't really quite know what was going on. But when it came to the mental health field, when I did my 72 hours, and that is a voluntary check-in, in 2017, that's when I was like kind of like in it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's rewind because you just threw a lot of grenades in that one little response. So you mentioned your mom. and losing your mom. Um, Tell us a little bit about that, and
Um,
however you want to talk about it.
well, I think when it comes to my mom, every young man, every young girl needs their mom. The
Mhm.
mom plays such an essential role in the family, and even working with my job now with the family systems, the mom plays such an important role. So
Yeah.
losing that so young, I kind of was just like left out trying to figure a lot of things out. Um, I lost her at 12,
Mhm.
and with me turning 36, she passed away at 39. I'm like, man,
Mhm.
she's young.
Yeah.
So just with the mom thing, it was really hard growing up without that. I was a
Mhm.
mama's boy.
Okay.
Everybody, all the family, they would let you know I'm a mama's boy. So losing that was kind of like losing a limb for real.
Yeah.
You know, probably both.
Mhm.
Because she was everything to me. So losing my mom, and she was the one that was really pushing for Keith Jr. My dad wanted to name me something weird. I don't know. I can't remember. But she was like, no, that's Junior. You know? So
Mhm.
growing up without a mom kind of plays a big role in how I did kind of like grow up, because I didn't really have the motherly figure. Not
Mhm.
even, yeah, I didn't have it at all. Not from
Okay.
my aunts, my cousin. It's different. Every young man needs his mom.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So, we will bounce back and forth, Keith. So,
I'm sure.
in light of your experience, right? So, every young man needs a mom. And I know for a fact that you are in family systems work,
Yeah.
right? You're dealing with young people. How are you able to take that specific experience to reinforce the work that you do with young people?
Mm. I think kind of letting them know when you see a mom that cares,
Hmm.
that is present, that is really working within your system. I kind of, I'm not going to lie. It kind of makes me step out a little bit, and I take it personal.
Hmm.
So I let them know, like, hey, you got a mom that's present, that cares,
Yeah.
and that's not saying that my mom didn't care or wasn't present, but she had a lot going on. So working in the field I am now with, doing family based therapy, seeing a mom that's present and active
Hmm.
is kind of triggering, because
Mm.
I was explaining to the lady today, and I was like, even with my partner who is amazing, when it comes to family base, when you look at my sisters, my
Hmm.
dad, and my mom, we could have used it, but most of the time it would have only just been me there.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because everybody else was branched out. And looking at these systems, I'm like, man, that looks so familiar.
Mm.
That looks so familiar. Even with the session I saw last night, and we had a client that would just like branch out away because he wants to get away from it. That's how I
Hmm.
was.
Okay.
So I see that, and a lot of times when I see a mom present and just willing in the system, it makes me want to put in more, because that really does matter. It
Yeah.
really does.
Okay. So, little Keith, because I like to say that a lot. Look, you see his eyes, y'all. you
Little
know,
Terry.
you you're talking about this childhood with moments of absent parents for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And going through your own mental health journey. Yes, you can name it at 12, right? Like you said, you really entered into this at 12. What was the system around you saying to that as you needed that support? Um,
What was the system saying?
yeah,
It was non-existent, and
okay.
I'll be honest.
That's
Um,
why we here. Take the mask off and tell your truth. That's all
I,
we want is honesty here.
I feel like the biggest support I had probably would have been from the school,
Okay.
because even they were kind of confused about what to do. So, I buried my mom in like early August.
Mm-hmm.
I start school a week later.
Mm.
And they're just like, they don't really know what to do with that. So I didn't really have a system that knew how to navigate around that.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of showed. It kind of
Okay.
showed. Even with my dad, his first thought was to move us away from home and to find a new area. But that wasn't that wasn't the best thing to do, because when he moved us to a new area, not only that, he picked up a job where he was going 5 days out of the week.
Okay.
So it's just me and my sister,
Yeah.
my younger sister, my Irish twin, 11 months apart. Shout out to Jackie. So we're just kind of figuring things out in seventh grade, Monday through Friday. He comes home Saturday. So yeah, I didn't really have a system that was just like, oh yeah, okay, you lost your mom. What can we do? It was just like figure it out on your own.
Okay. And you, when I talk to you, you are always very proud that you are a York High graduate, right?
Yeah,
So how did that community, because I know you play football, you mentioned that. So how did that community begin to be your community?
I think it started seventh, eighth grade.
Okay.
Again, after I buried my mom, I started seventh, eighth grade year, and I just wasn't able to get it going. And I remember, I remember being an equipment manager and just kind of like, giving them the water. And I'm like, man, I can do this, but I couldn't
Mm.
because of what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And just going through what I went through, I started out with seventh, eighth grade. Coach Leonard, he kind of changed my life. Marshall Leonard, he changed my life. So from seventh, eighth grade on, York High football kind of saved my life. And it kept me like straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to that, from seventh, eighth grade on, even ninth grade, I was involved with, my stepmom got me and my sister involved with a summer program. And next thing you know, I see the varsity players going into the weight room.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna join that. Me and my boy Jaime, shout out to Jaime Escobar. And we just kind of joined in and we just went with it. So when it comes to Bearcat football, it saved my life.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I wanted to hear you say.
Yeah. When it came to football, even with South York Warriors for life, it saved my life. Mm-hmm. And I made that transition after my mom passed to like York High. And then once I was able to get over that hump, like, okay, this is what I want to do. Everything changed for me. Okay. So York High Bearcats football was the saving grace for me. And I'm always open and honest about that.
Yeah. And I've heard you say that before. And I think it's important to mention because, we live in a world where, sports, arts, extracurriculars, like resources for those types of programs are always the first on the chopping block. And here you are, a grown established man saying the Bearcat team saved my life. Right. And I know that you're one of many, but, it's good to be able to hear that and create space for that. So, Mr. Keith, football was the journey. Mm-hmm. And how did that work out?
It worked out very good. Mm-hmm. It was a way, and I remember watching this interview with Patrick Willis. He was like a star linebacker for the 49ers. He retired a little early too. But he would say, like, football practice was the only time I didn't feel. Mm. And I was like, whoa, that hit. Yeah. Like, I didn't feel anything when I was out there. And anybody that played with me knows that when Keith was on the field, it was different. It was different. So it was an escape, kind of my way out of things. Okay. However, it did attribute to my trauma. Mm-hmm. Because as good as I was looking at a number of scholarships. I was looking at a number of, offers to look at. I had a senior year ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
I got hurt, you know,
Yeah.
and I lost pretty much any type. It's a business. After high school, it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business, and I learned that out really fast.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hard for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So with football, it played a big part in being able to numb what I had going on from my childhood up until junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then it became something else, something that I missed.
Okay.
Okay, if that makes sense.
It don't, because I think you dancing around something, and we all know I don't do dancing, so
Oh,
I
okay.
don't
What
do
am I dancing
dancing. So football's going well. You get
around?
injured, and you take it in stride, right?
Try.
Life changed.
It did.
How did you adapt? Because that's what this is about. Like you've had some ups and downs, highs and lows. That was a big one.
It was a big one because that was kind of my way out.
Yeah.
I'm looking at different schools. There was different conversations I had with different schools, and it wasn't until I had a conversation with Rich Rodriguez, who is the head coach, full circle. He's back at West Virginia, and he let me know how much of a business this is,
Mm-hmm.
and I just, I kind of folded a little bit. I didn't know what to do because I'm Keith, the football player. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my dad taking me to practice. And when I say practice, I mean track. I'm doing shot put. He's like, hey, I know you're used to being Keith, the football player, but just introduce everybody to Keith, the
That's
person.
rich. That's rich.
But at 17, you don't want to hear that.
Right.
What you mean? I'm like, man, I'm good at this. This is what I do, you know? And most of the time, like a lot of players that went D1 that went further to what I was supposed to, they have horror stories about me. They do. You know what I'm saying? Like they do. But here I am trying to figure out, okay, football is done for me early.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next?
And I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So early on, I kind of had to figure out this whole identity crisis and what's next for you. And it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard.
Yeah, identity crises are hard. And that's why we're sitting here having this conversation. Because clearly you've survived a lot, or you wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with me, right? So if we fast forward, because we're gonna bounce back and forth, football happened. You had your first identity crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are a Black man right now having a conversation about mental health. Like so far, you've talked about your own check-in. You've talked about a nervous breakdown. So at this moment in life, how is mental health showing up for you? What did the identity crisis look like for you? Was it silent?
Right now in life.
No, what did it look like
Then.
in 11th grade?
Okay. I had no idea what I was doing. Because it didn't only leave me injured, but it left me with like a ailment or a limitation for life. So I'm like, I'm walking around with this brace, and I'm like, oh man, what are we doing? I'm walking around with this brace, so I kind of hid behind different things, because I had a lot of power and strength in my testimony when it came to me coming back. I tore every ligament you could think of in my left knee. However, I came back in 6 months. You can't even write that story. I had every doctor from OSS, WellSpan. They came to see me play. Dallastown fried them. They came to see me play. The first play, all they did was go at my legs. But they were just looking like, whoa.
Mm.
They had residents come all over from different providers to see me. I'm running on the treadmill. So it was like a blessing, but it was like, man, all I want to do is throw on that orange helmet with the Y and ball.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a bigger purpose that my dad would always tell me about. It was a bigger purpose. Like God was using me in a way that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I came back in 6 months from injuries that a lot of people don't come back from a year.
Yep.
Plus. And so I turned it into something beautiful, like a story. However, you know, just I couldn't wait to get back out there. I couldn't. So if you look at my yearbook, I ran for homecoming court, should have won. Ran for homecoming court. You'll see my picture, but when it comes to the whole court, I'm not there. I just looked at it the other day because I was so amped up about being back that game. I just couldn't contain myself. I remember, you gotta take a picture. A picture of what? I'm back. Mm-hmm. You know, this is something that I dreamed of. So yeah, that's how much it means to me. Don't get me all amped up.
I know. Listen, I know how you feel about football. So here's the thing, Mr. Keith. So you have this very vivid memory of this period of life that is so significant still. How full circle, like how do you utilize that now in the work that you do now? Because the story is not just about a dream, it's also about some ups and downs, like things not working out the way you need it to. Like how do you take that powerful story and translate that to the people that you're engaging now?
The biggest thing for me now is just a lot of times when people look at even some of my clients, oh, there's no way out. Mm-hmm. Man, I try to give them a different point of view. So that's my biggest thing that I take away from what I went through. Just give them a point of view, because no matter what you're going through, you know, life is waiting. Mm-hmm. I said, but this right here, when you living in the moment, that's what matters. So I try to attack them, especially my work in the juvenile justice field, living in the moment. Mm-hmm. This really matters. Whatever you got going on, it matters. And you have to like kind of dial in, as Coach Ortega would say, dial in and live in the moment and kind of see whatever you got going on through. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're feeling big feelings, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, you're going to be okay. I'm telling you, I felt it. And I had clients in the past be like, oh, well, you got through it, right? I guess I'm still in therapy. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. I'm still working through it.
Okay, so let's pause there. You said I'm still working through it, which is important because y'all know how much I love therapy, right? It is a journey. And so are you telling us that you're still in therapy working through experiences that you had when you were in high school?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
It's actually, what we call it ironic, but it's ironic that I finally got to a point where I was working on something with my ex. I was working on something with my mom, really, really like pushing through. And then I lose my dad. In the process, you know, I meet up with her. I'm like, yo, my dad passed away last week. She's like, whoa. Yeah. You know, so I do get that. You know, and that's what I try to tell a lot of kids that I work with, even in the past, even adults that I work with. I'm still working on myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The coping skills that I'm trying to give you, I'm using right now.
Okay, Mr. Keith, because I was literally going to ask you that from, you know, because we often hear coping skills talked about and they're often connected with a image, whether we want to say it or not. We hear women talk about coping skills all the time and blah, blah, blah. So from your perspective as a man, like, how do you define your coping skills? Like, what do they look like for you?
Woo!
I know. How dare I?
Yeah, what you mean? They have transitioned over time, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like working with kids. When I started out in 2017, working at York High, I was a hall monitor for a little bit. That you'll start because they'll test you at 7:30 in the morning, bro. I ain't even get no coffee, cuz and then transitioning from that in placement, you're dealing with kids that may or may not know that they're going home from 9, maybe even 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So my work kind of like really helped with that.
Yeah.
Being able to take care of myself. There was a time with working with the residential that I did with the kids. I went in for 28 days straight.
Oh wow.
And it's only because a lot of kids like, hey, I just want to hear your voice, Mr. Keefe. I want to sleep. You know what I mean? Me and my partner, Curvin, sometimes, we're serving, making
Mm-hmm.
sure you guys are good. But after that, I was like, man, I got to really take care of myself more.
Mm-hmm.
I got to take care of myself, whether it's the gym, playing the game, something. So I think that my field, what I'm working in, kind of like I went in headfirst on how to really take care of myself, and I haven't really quite figured that out yet.
Okay, that's honest.
Yeah,
That's honest.
I'm being
So
honest.
that's what I need. So you haven't quite figured it out, but something that I know that you do religiously is the gym.
Yeah,
And I know this, guys, because if you haven't figured it out already, Keith, we are co-therapists, so we work together every day. And he is quick to say, D, don't schedule nothing because I'm going to the gym.
I got to get
So
in.
you are committed to doing that religiously, which is really good. But okay, so you're still figuring that out, which is
Trying to get
good.
back into it. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm asking that question because, like I said, your perspective. I'm a woman, so I know what works for me. I typically have a good, range of ideas that come from other women, but it's different. The mental health journey is different for everybody. But men, Black men, particularly, right? We're talking about your lived experience. These are things that are actively happening to you. Then you've got a whole larger system around you
Yeah,
that's happening to you, whether you want it to or not.
yeah, that's a fact. And I feel like when it comes to trying to figure out what works for me, my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
you know, her generation is so weird. It's so strange. Even hearing her say 6, 7, 80 times a day, it does a lot for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just being there for her kind of helps me out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, I got the lady when we're doing different things that works out.
Mm-hmm.
And even with work, if I don't have my partner, it kind of throws me off. But when I have my partner, that does things to me
Mm-hmm.
because she feeds me.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the gym, we got a whole bunch of things that kind of PS5. We're not even gonna get into that because I know y'all be gaming and y'all not.
I'm not, so I can't engage
Yeah,
in that.
yeah, but no, you're not. So that does help a lot too, gaming. But powerlifting, I remember the coach I brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was talking to the lady earlier, and I was talking about a coach that was there for me, and he kind of lost, he lost football, and he said, "Yo, I kind of like powerlift because I missed that experience."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "That's kind of why I do it." And talking to him, he kind of expressed that powerlifting does help. So we're powerlifting, we're trying to figure things out. He can't leg press more than me, he can't bench more than me.
You're so
So
competitive. It's ridiculous.
it is. It's bad. It's
It's
bad.
bad, y'all. Like he competes it
Sorry,
everything.
Coach Mac. But you
It's
can't.
bad.
You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
that really does help. And ego
Okay.
lifting really does help. Even if I'm just putting on a playlist and just ego lifting by myself,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of just really just brings me down. and kind of like recenters me.
How do you challenge this stereotype that Black men need to hold it together?
The way I challenge it by kind of speaking my truth.
Okay.
You know, I had a partner at the placement I worked at with juvenile offenders who had severe mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Severe. And he would always, every day we had a session, I was just like, oh my God. He would give the same speech. I'm like, Daryl, man, they don't need to hear that. But he was serious. And it wasn't until I left when I was like, yo, that's real. He said,
Mm-hmm.
I give myself time to cry.
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2 times a month. If it's more, okay, that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so when it comes to that, I just try to give myself time to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Really time to feel and even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see in my statuses like, yo, I'm not feeling it today. I'm kind of weak. You know, just being vulnerable and being open. And that's the way I kind of attack it. Just being open. Because people don't know what to do. Sometimes my daughter, I'll be like, yo, I'm really sad. I can't believe that you brought up my dad. And she's like, you know, I'm sorry. I want pancakes. I'm like, oh my God. You know, we just, come on, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But being vulnerable, she really does recognize that I'm being vulnerable, but her mom is a little bit more guarded. So she's on that, she has a mixture.
Okay,
so,
which is good.
It is a good mixture. So what I do is I just be as vulnerable and open as possible because you can get what you won't get because it is what it is. What you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Now he want to fight, y'all. I'm telling you. Anywho,
Oh
but no, that's important because that's not something that we typically see, right? Like that goes against that stereotypical persona of man, let alone Black man, which is you have to project a certain level of strength. And you know, I say it all the time. You hear me say it. I feel like weak people can't cry. And y'all can disagree with me all day. I don't care. Strong people shed tears. I think it's a sign of strength to be able to display that type of emotion. So I applaud you because I know you're very transparent about that. And I do see sometime on your social media page where you are very honest about your feelings. So what does it look like for you now, Keith, when you think about like just your mental health journey? Like, where are you? Are you in a space that you feel like is a stable place? Are you in a high? You're in a low? Like, what does that look like for you right now?
I think the biggest the biggest way to explain that, like I kind of explained it with the panel. Excuse me. We had somebody that great friend of mine, Clarence, was explaining about being and understanding who you are moving forward. I don't know who I am. So I think right now in this present form, I don't know who I am because who I knew, he had a dad.
Okay.
So 2 years ago, I had a dad.
Yeah.
You know, I was moving on to working state parole. I knew what I was doing, but without him, it kind of changed.
Okay.
I was moving to Philly. I was having a great time in Philly. Now, without him, I really don't know. So I think right now I'm trying to figure out who this Keith is and what does it look like, because the Keith I was when I had a dad doesn't exist.
And that's a true statement. You know, grief, you know, to bring in yet another category into this mental health conversation, you are very much still in the thick of the grieving process. And, you know, you have something around your neck that I know is there, even though I can't see it. Why don't you share that? Tell the people what that is.
Oh, can they see it? Hold up.
We can see it. I saw it. Yep.
This is my pops.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people use Spotify. I'm an Apple Music motherfucker. You know what I mean? But if you scan it, it will play Dancing with My Father. And, I'm taking them everywhere I'm at. So it's obvious to see that losing Keith Sr. was kind of hard on me.
Absolutely.
Because I had a conversation with him Friday, right? He passes away Saturday. I'm burying him the next Saturday. Yeah. So that's why I hold him near and dear, because I thought I was going to have everything figured out, but no, it didn't work out that way, and that's okay.
Right. And whether you recognize it or not, like, you are literally living legacy. You're literally living legacy. And you've said it in this sector with us, and I've heard you say it before. There are words that your father has spoken to you that you constantly refer to. And so the physicality of him is absent, but the wisdom is very much like coming through you all the time. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I switch hats from time to time. So, I want to know, it's a lot happening in the world right now. And people don't know what to do and how to navigate their mental health and stability with all of this, right? And I'm not saying that you've got it all mapped out at all, but we deal with some of the most traumatic cases that people would not imagine. How are you navigating what's happening in the world, what's happening in your own life? Like, how are you juggling that?
I think that I'm not doing the best.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I'm not doing the best, because when it comes to the world, it's so much going on. I'm trying to keep my daughter up to speed with everything, and I'm like, whew. And then next thing you know, the lady, she's in education. That's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
I'm in family base right now, coming from corrections. I'm still, and I tell people all the time, I'm still trying to deprogram from corrections. I'm trying to really figure out what it is that helps me unwind.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that the best way I'm handling it is living in the moment.
Okay.
And I put my phone down. I do my notes. I make sure that until the next day when I'm supposed to work, that's when I'm looking at my phone. That's when I'm looking at my laptop.
So you have boundaries.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. There are plenty of us. Who don't do well at boundaries.
Yeah.
And so that's important. I think that's important for everybody, regardless of man, female, or everything else. You definitely have to have boundaries. Like, there has to be a dividing line between this is my work and this is my life, especially for people who are in the caring and peopling business, right? You absorb all of that and you bring it into your home. So you saying, I put my work phone down, that's a great boundary. I'm
Are
learning.
you following that? You feel like?
I'm not, and you already know that, and so does everybody else that's watching. They know I kind of am horrible at that.
But do you realize that it stresses me out that you don't?
This is not the time of the sector that you start asking me questions. So.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Yo, you stress me out so much.
I know. I'm sorry. Join the club. It's growing. So, Mr. Keith, aside from, mental health, where have you found support? Like, you are here celebrating a birthday. That means somewhere along this journey, you've encountered people. Like, who's your tribe?
Man, I think the biggest part of my tribe is it's so many pieces, because we got my family, both my mom and dad's side. We got the bros who, I can name a couple chapters, but we'll name even my home chapter with Ada Kappa. We got the lady, we got Zori. Zori done sent me a message. She already knows it's gonna get me, like, she got my tears. She messed me up. So I think from every avenue, like I was hit with so much love, and it made me realize my village is pretty big from home,
Mm-hmm.
college life, professional life, and even beyond that. It really made me feel like my village is a lot bigger than I thought. So
I'm
that's
sure.
kind of where I'm soaking everything in. Everything. I'm getting messages from people I ain't talked to in like 10 years. They tuned in here though.
That's good. They
Yeah, I
watching.
mean, like, so it's been pretty good. So I'm kind of tapping into my village at home, both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my mom and my dad's side, we got the Kennedys, Spellmans, O'Berries, and my dad's side. All I know is the Smiths, McMillans, Davis. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They all tapped in.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what's next? And when I say what's next, I don't want to know what you're doing. When you think about your life and being a living legacy, right? And being on your own mental health journey, like what do you want to leave as a mark? Like,
I want to be able to. Oh man, that's deep. It's
my
easy.
bad.
No. You good because it's easy because I want to be able to touch lives to a point where they're asking me, "How you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got a kid that had to do federal time for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 years left. And when I tell you when he gets out, I'm gonna talk to him, I'm gonna take him out to eat. I want to be able to be that branch for them to really want to just like talk about whatever and be
Mm-hmm.
whoever, you know. Um,
You see mentoring in your future.
I think, yeah, definitely in my future. If it's crazy because I have a TikTok, it's kind of like private, but when it was open, I had a kid randomly. Somebody was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yo, this is the best PO I ever had." He went down the list on a video of me like powerlifting. And I'm like, bro, like, what you mean? What are you talking? I was like, how'd you find me, cuz? What's going on? You know? And that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to touch lives in a way where they can continue to want to check up on me. I got
Yeah.
invited to I don't know how many, I'm sorry, cookouts. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my young bulls that's like really doing the thing. Um, I want to be able to touch lives in a way where they're hitting me up and not even just me up, my family.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know they can be like, oh yeah, Hemrock. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, we got Swerve. We got a fucking sorry.
Hey, speak your truth. It's heard a lot in this space.
We
So
got a
you're
pro wrestler who got, a shoe contract with the answers. Yo, you can hit up anybody. We're here for you.
yeah.
Because you can do anything that you so cliche and very corny. You can do anything that you put your mind to,
Mm-hmm.
but you also can really tap in to anybody you would like to,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's football, basketball, media. We got people that are good writers. We got people writing poetry books.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, yo, whatever you want, York got it, and we can put you in the right direction. You want to go to school, whatever school you want. You can go to Hack. Hack is all right. You can get that refund check in the whip. You know what I mean? Have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Hack is cool. And then you got your associates. You rock out, you go somewhere else. But yeah.
So you see mentoring in your future, which is good. Mr. Keith, I want to know, we've talked about a lot of different life changes and different people showing up for you. How has faith impacted your journey?
Faith.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Um, I think faith impacted my journey in a way where I was just saying this the other day, and I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I was angry
Uh-huh.
with the God that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I grew up Kojic, Maranatha, Kojic. You know what I mean? We out here, and it was a beautiful experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was on the sound. I'm putting in work. Not only am I playing football, I'm showing up with Brother John, and I'm showing up Wednesdays for the sound, make sure we're good. Sunday mornings, I'm rocking out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't hide the fact that I was upset
Mm-hmm.
with the cards I've been dealt in my
Yeah.
face.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at, and I was talking to the lady, and I said, I'm very upset with the cards I've been dealt. I've dealt with physical, sexual, emotional abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I lose my mom. I lose my dad. I lose my career. What else is there for me?
Mm-hmm.
What else? And so there was a time where I'm trying to be as rebellious as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but also so when it comes to faith, I feel like it kind of pushed me in a direction where I was kind of faced with things I've been ignoring. With my
Okay.
career choice, I remember our therapist said, she said, your testimony is more powerful than a badge and a gun could ever give you.
Oh, really?
Ever. And I was
Hmm.
like, what you mean?
Hmm.
She's like, with the badge comes power. She broke me down pretty good.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
she was letting me know my testimony is very much more powerful than that.
Yep.
So when it came to faith, now I was very, very angry. Still very angry.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more understanding because everybody's walk isn't the same. It's not linear. You know what I mean?
If you could talk to your younger self, like if you could talk to little Keith
Mm.
about his mental health journey with all of this knowledge and professionalism that you have acquired, what are you saying to little Keith?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm letting Lil Keith know that, first of all, I feel like Lil Keith needs to know that whatever abuse he went through is not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
What his parents are going through is not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I want Lil Keith to know that off rip. And just talk to him and let him know that everything's going to be okay. You have to get the help and you have to take it serious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I took my therapy serious. I was in therapy at 9.
Mm.
You have to take it serious. You have to take your medication serious. So these are things that I will talk with him about and let him know that people are in your corner. You have to be able to identify it because you're angry. You mad at me just for being here and talking to you. So just, know that people are in your corner. Shout out to Miss Hall.
Mm.
Shout out to Mr. Nelson, Mr. Wade. It's so many people that are going to be in your life that you have to understand they're there for a purpose. So these are things I would tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got it, he saw it, but I don't think he did get it. But you don't get it until you're older. Like, man,
Oh yeah.
Hear about you.
Oh yeah.
You see
So-
what the work we do.
What would you do? That's how you would talk to little Keith. How would you talk to the black man that's listening right now?
Oh.
Because I know that our comfort zone is young people.
Yeah.
What are you saying to the black man right now that
Ooh.
he ain't talking to nobody? I'm not even trusting therapy. I ain't talking to nobody. What are you saying?
Get comfortable with the man you are now. Because my dad, wants that. Your mom wants that. Get comfortable because there is no going back.
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable with the man that is living right now without a father, without a mom. And I would raise the intensity a little bit and just be like, yo, I'm a girl dad.
Mm-hmm.
She a preteen. She about to be 12. She says 6, 7 about 80 times a day, and I don't know what to do. I just want to run away. You know what I mean? Like, so I would tell myself now, patience, love, care, because we can't raise them the way that we were.
That's right.
I told my daughter today, I was like, nothing really funny. I'm not even laughing. But, you know, what I dealt with is a lot different than what you dealt with when I had this conversation. But I love you so much. They're so good. Like, just meet them with love and understanding in the way that Lil Keith would have wanted.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, big question from a parent perspective, because, you know, you mention Missouri all the time, which is amazing. What do you have to say to parents? Like, dealing with this generation of kids, keeping in mind that mental illness is so prevalent right now.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying what would you say to parents?
My biggest thing would be, don't be so quick to take away certain electronics.
Ooh, the electronic thing.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're quick to be like, oh, my baby's not going to be a tablet baby. However, I woke up Saturday morning and I was watching TV until 3.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get up at a certain time to make sure I had the schedule on lock.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We had GoldenEye. We had N64. We had Dreamcast. Mm-hmm. We had games so we're not going to pretend that we didn't spend time on the game. Mm-hmm. So something I would say would be, let them have their time, but let's navigate around that.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's put a limit. Okay, you're going to play your game. After that, get some time outside. Mm-hmm. We already knew I was fighting for time to get outside. When we moved in with my stepmom, I was like, man, I was fighting for time to get outside. She wanted things cleaned a certain way. I had to, bro, I'm trying to go. And I ran to my friend's house. I had like 4 hours. Give them time and understanding, but also be kind of like curious about what they're doing.
Curiosity, that's the word. I love it.
What, like, oh, they want to play the game. Oh, they want to do this. Be curious about what they're doing. Mm-hmm. If they want to play COD and get fried, that's on them. But be curious about it. If they want to play, Fortnite, whack. You know, and they want to get fried, but actually be in on it. Yeah. It wasn't until my dad, he was like, yeah, I want to play Madden. I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm about to run this on you, bro. I got McNabb. You know what I'm saying? I got Westbrook. I'm about to fry you, bro. Because he was a Dolphins fan. But he was interested in what I had going on. So be interested, but also put the restrictions on. Mm-hmm. You ain't doing this all day. I don't care. You're not doing it all day. So after you fry a couple people, you beat them? All right, let's rock out. Let's go get something to eat. Let's go to the park or something. Mm-hmm.
Boundaries. Yeah. Boundaries and balance. You got to have boundaries and balance. So
that's a fact.
Yep. So, Mr. Keith, we don't have a lot of time, and I like to honor my guests for their hour. 2 more questions. Well, really 3. The first one is, what would you say to the man watching right now? Like, any man that's watching, that is tuning in, like, that may feel ashamed or living in the stigma of getting help. Like, what would you say?
Rock out. We're done those days of just hiding behind our pain, our hurt, whatever. These ladies are ready to be there for us. Mm-hmm. They're ready. Mm-hmm. So I would say just be out, man. Be free. Be who you are. It's okay. Rock out.
Yeah,
And if you don't feel like you can be vulnerable or open, test it out.
that's
And if
good.
she's not giving you that, move on.
That's good.
Because we need that. We need to be fed. We need to be listened to.
Hmm.
So that's one thing that I would share with them.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Um, I have 1,000 questions, but I pride myself on going down the road that you create. So I'm not going to derail us and take us in a whole different way, even though I'm itching to do that.
Ooh.
So Keith, you spend a lot of time in the juvenile system.
Well,
You now parole, I'm sorry, parole, and now you do family base, right? So you engage with young people all the time.
well,
Regardless of the young, like what would you say to a young person that's watching you right now, Mr. Keith, right? And maybe they've crossed your path, maybe they haven't, and this is an opportunity. Like, what would you say to them?
stop playing. Telling these kids now, and I didn't even play that when it came to
Hmm.
working with the kids because that's most of my history, my professional history. Why do you feel like you can put on a shiesty and have a meeting with me? Take it off.
Mm, mm,
You know what I'm saying? Why do you feel like that you can't write your name on certain paperwork? Read that.
mm-hmm.
Pay attention to what you're reading and pay attention to what you're signing on. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
Even if you can't write, if you got them initials because you don't, they got rid of cursive. If you got them initials, read that. Pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to what you're doing and pay attention to who you're dealing with because it's your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, pay attention. What's my name? I forgot. So you done sign paperwork with a judge that you don't know and a
Mm-hmm.
PO that you don't know. Pay attention to who you're dealing with
Yeah.
and take it serious because it's your life. So that's one thing I would say. And also, you ain't got a lot of time
Yeah.
because by the time you get to where we at, ain't no time left.
You such a baby. Y'all, which is your 36th birthday?
Yeah, I'm
He
old.
turned 36 today. It's his 36th birthday. He talking about he ain't got a lot of life. For once, I'm not the youngest person in the room. He's
She is
36.
though. She's
So
33. She's talking about,
I am happily 44. Yes, I am. I know he thinks I'm lying. Anywho, friends, KJ, at the
Yeah.
end of every face off, first of all, thank you. I'm going to thank you again, but thank you for being here.
Oh,
But I like to give all of my guests an opportunity to reverse roles. And so, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
ooh, you gotta change the game right there.
I do, and nobody is ever expecting it. Interesting.
So I'll let y'all know this is my co-therapist.
Hmm.
So we're going into these homes. Deep Marie, given everything you got going on,
Hmm.
even in the future, how are you feeling?
I hate when y'all ask me this question. How am I feeling in general today, right this moment?
Well, you have a baby shower this week.
I do. I
Can you
do.
share with us the baby and the name? So fire. Share with us the name.
My Angelo? His name is
No,
or the nickname.
the
My
name
munchie
that you picked.
my munchie man. That's my munchie man.
Okay. What is he gonna call you?
He's gonna call me Grandy.
Yeah, that's fire.
I'm gonna be Grandy. And yes, so in this very moment, I am on a wave. Like I'm up high right now. When I am done talking to you, I will officially be in the grind of preparing for baby shower. I didn't saw my last client for the week. So I'm feeling pretty good. But you are my co-therapist, so you do see me a lot. So when I'm on the wave, you are 9 times out of 10 watching it, probably in ways that people that are watching me right now have never imagined.
No.
Because they typically just see, what's happening on social media and Facebook. I'm showing up, I'm at the spaces doing all of the things. But, you
True.
know, when I am in the thick of my own life and in the thick of life with other people, I don't take any of that lightly. And so I show up for people the way I would have wanted someone to show up for me. So, I echo your sentiments when you say, I could have used family based. I don't know that I needed family based, but I want somebody to show, I wish someone would have shown up for me at that
Mm.
age that I'm now showing up for other people. But
Mm.
I am so much better, I'll say, in the last 7 days than I was. So I'm much better right now. I think this preparing to be a grandee is just, it's eye opening and real talk. Like, as I'm preparing the shower, I am also checking boxes that are going to be in the I can't do category. So I know
Yeah.
in the next 7 to 14 days, I will be resigning from some roles. Because my plate, I need to make space for not only my grandson, but I need to make space for my daughter as she's entering into motherhood. And I think this is important because if we want the next generation to do better, we have to show them what that looks like, and she's never had to be prepared to be a mother because she wasn't one. And so now we're in a different training phase. And so I've got to create space to be able to show up for her and my grandson, just like I'm showing up for other people's families. So I am good right now to answer that question. I'm good right
Okay.
now.
Okay. I'm,
Hmm.
I'm I'm curious because you do a lot
Hmm.
for everybody.
Hmm.
Oftentimes, when we're doing our sessions, you have something else to do right
Yes.
after.
Yes. Yes.
How is that? Do you feel like that's going to change when Munchie Man comes?
Munchie man. Munchie
Yeah.
man.
So,
Munchie man.
how do you feel like you're going to switch a little bit of roles towards the end of 25?
Uh, so I will say this in a very abbreviated way. When I became a mother, my mother and I did not have the best relationship. Like, when I say we did not, we look total opposite of what the world sees right now. We were not friends. I did not, we did just didn't. And she made a choice to move into my house to be a support as I raised twins. And even in those early stages of that, I couldn't see the value in her presence, right?
Okay.
I didn't
Yeah.
understand the value of that because of our own unresolved trauma. So fast forward, here we are 20 plus years, because that's what I tell people. Me and my mom's relationship is about to be 25 years deep because she's been my road dog from the
10.
time I had my children. Like, whether I could value it or not, that's my blueprint.
Yeah.
And so she is the blueprint of what it looks like to be a grandmother. And I can't take that from her. Nobody, no matter what her life looks like
Yeah.
before this moment, they can't take away that she is Nene. Like, she has shown up for these kids in ways that she didn't always show up for me. Right.
Mhm.
And so, tag, you're it. And that's the game. We're already competing, right? We're already fighting over this baby that's not even here. Because I'm like, you had your chance to be a grandma. It's my
Yeah.
chance. So yes, things will be different. They have to be different because I don't want to miss the things that I had to miss for my children because I needed to be a provider mom, right? So, provider mom, I'm gonna tag that. Anyway, so I didn't want to have to miss those things. So yeah, things are gonna change. Things are gonna change because I want to give Erica space to still evolve into who I know God has called her to be. Like,
Ooh.
I had the blessing of having a mother, so I could travel the world and work. I could collect degrees, right? I did that under my mama's watch, being a full-time nana to my
Mhm.
children. And so Erica's life will not stop because there's an Angelo. Like, it will be amplified because she has an Angelo and Angelo has a village. So yes.
Woo! I have so many. I have 2 more questions. Is that okay?
He done went from one question, y'all, to a whole bunch of questions. You see that?
Yo, she opened up the door. So I do hear you, and that's amazing To
Mm-hmm.
hear you say that, especially like seeing your mom be a grandmom, you're like, yo, this is how I'm going to do things.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you.
What's your question?
How has it been? Because this is something that you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
as far as your professional life. How has it been having a black man as your partner?
Oh my gosh. So that's a whole nother conversation, y'all. I'm telling you, what he's asking me would literally require me to do like a reverse face off because I'm in my bag on black and brown therapists showing up in black and brown homes and
Yeah.
showing up in anybody's homes. And let me rephrase that. No, not just showing up in black and brown homes, showing up in any home. Because if we're going into a family that is predominantly white, we run the risk of dealing with a family that may have stereotypes against black people, and then they get to see this dynamic duo to help to not only help their family but also reshape the narrative of how they engage black and brown people and children. So there's that. And then you have families that look like your family and my family that may have been rocky. They do need to have that sense of stability to understand, yes, culturally I know exactly where you are. You don't even have to say some things because I understand the little nuances and things and phrases that we say. So you might have been able to get that over on your last therapist, but you can't get that over on me. So I love having um, a black partner. I do. I've never had a male partner, guys. So this is the first for me. And it was weird at first. I ain't even gonna lie. I'd be the first to tell y'all it was weird. But Keith and I, we do really well together. So yeah, I enjoy it. You don't get no more questions. That's enough.
That's enough.
What else, Keith?
I'm just trying to say, because when it comes to being your partner, and we're doing this family based stuff again, guys, if you don't know, we're doing family based therapy. We're going into these systems
Mm-hmm.
of these families that really don't know
Mm-hmm.
what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we got families that sometimes they just need a little bit of redirection. We got
Mm-hmm.
families that just need to be a little bit quiet to be able to be okay. What does that look like in? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. This is my partner. She is in a PhD program.
Oh my
What
gosh.
does that look like for you moving forward as far as like family based?
I really don't like him right now. I need y'all to understand.
Because
He
I
is
know that you
totally
have
taking
something in
advantage of
mind.
me right now. He's
Sorry.
taking advantage of me right now in so many ways, and you guys are watching it. What you want to know what family
Like,
base looks like for me in the future?
yeah,
Working
what
on a
does that look
PhD.
like? Because what does it mean to you now, and what does it look like in the future?
So I absolutely love ecosystemic structural family therapy. So that is the model that is behind family based. Most people have no clue what it is. If you're not talking about CBT or DBT, they don't have a frame for ecosystemic structural family therapy. I do. I love it because it is a relational model that not only incorporates all of the systems around a family, but it also has space for faith. And you all know I'm a pastor, I'm a preacher. I feel like my faith informs the work that I do. So that's why that's my particular model of reference. What's next? I'm not going to school just to have letters for people to call me a doctor. I
Ooh.
am going to school so that when I am done and I have these letters that the system says that I need, which the letters aren't going to do anything but make them more comfortable to hear my voice. It's not going to change because I'm showing up as me with the knowledge that I've brought that was outside of this program anyway. Anywho, I'm doing this so that I can expand, no, not expand, so that I can shrink this gap that exists in our community with having access to quality therapy and mental health services. And
Mhm.
notice I said quality because there are some big brands that you're not getting what you get from Keith and Dee Marie. There are some big brands that people are showing up and they are not getting the level of intensity or care or empathy or professionalism that you get from Keith and Dee Marie. And so I want to be able to change that because I hate to go into homes and people say to me, I've had family base 3 times and it sucks. And I have to say, I am so sorry that you didn't have us. And
Yeah.
now you do. Because I'm not them. So I'm doing this work so that our people can have access. And when I say our people, my people are whoever I'm in shared space with. So let me be very clear. If we're crossing paths, I believe that that's because that's what God needs to happen at that moment. And I'm going to show up for you like I birthed you. And anybody that's ever been my client or a parent of my client will tell you, your child is my child until we are no longer connected. I'm going in for your kids like they're my own. So that's why I'm doing it. So yes, family base will always be a part of me in some way.
Okay.
All right, I'm done. I'm not giving him space to talk
Okay,
anymore.
I'm sorry.
I'm not, because
Y'all
he's
see how I
taking
like reverse
advantage
that?
of this.
Don't play with me.
Yeah, y'all, he's taking
'Cause
advantage
that's
of
my
this. We're in a
partner.
reversal.
Don't play with me.
But I will say, you are one of the only guests, probably for the last couple of face-offs, that have actually asked me a question. Because people seem to, yeah, they're taken off by the idea of having a question. So,
That's cat.
Mr. Keith, thank you. When I say thank you so much for being here with us, I am totally appreciative of your time, especially on your birthday. Please, y'all, give him some birthday love. I want y'all to type happy birthday.
I'm about to get turned.
Celebrating his birthday.
Can I say that over here? I'm about to get turned. Oh, yeah. I'm about to get
Listen,
turned.
it's your birthday. It's face off. Tell your truth. Everybody celebrates their birthday.
East side, you know what I mean? We out here.
Yep. So I just wanted to tell you again, happy birthday publicly. And thank you for sharing some time with us. And from all of us here at Face to Face, I want to thank all of you for taking time to share this space. For those that are watching, please know, if you are brave enough, everything that you've experienced can be utilized to help you grow. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself to be seasoned, middle age, just starting out, or in your youth. It's never too late to take the mask off and to tell your truth. My name is Reverend D. Marie, and I'm so excited that you were here with me in this space. And I will see you next month. Thank you for joining me here on this 5th Thursday, because I had to change it because y'all know I was at Cowboy Carter and I'm still in that spirit. So yes, that's why the cowgirl hat is on. So see you next month. We will be back to our 4th Thursday. I don't know who my guest is going to be, but we'll be here. Go ahead. Tell you, these dogs are crazy. Good night, love. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.